Well, Merry Christmas Eve. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Holy Days. Whatever you... Some people have Kwanzaa coming up. It starts the day after Christmas. And, you know, it's a time of celebration for a lot of different traditions. But like Nancy said, we kind of handle everything here. You know, I like to call us a non-denominational, all-denominational teaching, that we're inclusive of whatever you believe, because we have to believe that there's something going on. There's a power that's beating our heart, breathing our body. You know, when I look at the ocean and I see the wave crash on the beach, and I know that I didn't make that happen. Something's going on. Well, I want to talk to you a little bit about the metaphysical interpretation of the Christmas story today. It's apropos Christmas Eve. And this is, I did some research online to put together a couple different stories and ideas about metaphysical Christmas. And a lot of this information was taken from the unity.org. Charles Fillmore did some wonderful Bible interpretation of the Christmas story, and I've incorporated some of that into my talk this morning. The original Christmas story about the birth of Jesus in the manger, with Mary and Joseph, the shepherds, the angels, Herod. Remember Herod? He plays a good role, good archetype in our setup. The star in the east, the wise men, or the magi, and their gifts. Each one of these things has a metaphysical interpretation, and when we break it down and look at it, we can get a different experience from the Christmas story. And for me, looking at it differently changed the story for me. You know, as I was growing up, I was taught the Christian tradition that Jesus was born and died for our sins, and that it was his birthday on the 25th. I never understood how they came to that date, the 25th. You know, it was like but as you look at other traditions, everything kind of culminates for the end of the year. It's kind of interesting how all the patterns kind of line up for that. But this insight involves the birth of our awareness of our latent spiritual potential that occurs when we realize that the Christmas story is our story. Each one of us is part of the Christos energetic. That each one of us has been given a great gift. And that's what I believe this season is all about. You know, we make this big deal about going and getting the right gift and wrapping it up and putting it under the tree, and then on Christmas morning we open that gift. But each one of us has a Christmas story of our own. Each one of us is the gift. And that's the title of my talk this morning, is You Are the Gift. It's not something you buy, it's something that you are. And you can run, but you cannot hide from it. You are the reason for the season. You know, it said Christ is the reason for the season. But what was Christ's story? It was all about, you too shall do great works. You have the same power. Jesus the Christ was not the exception. It's not like he's the only Son of God. Each one of us are sons and daughters of the infinite. In our teaching, we see Jesus the Christ as the example, as the great practitioner of how when you align your thinking in the right way, you can demonstrate what you choose to be, do, and have in your life, just like Jesus did. You can do miracles in your life when you are in the right atonement with what you believe the power of creation is. So the Christ Spirit permeates our consciousness and becomes a vital part of our humanity. It all happens in consciousness, in which each component of the story has a role in our transformative experience of our inner Christmas. The inn where Mary went to get a room so she could have her baby, and there was no room at the inn. Well, if we can see the inn as our intellect, there's no room in our intellect for the birth of something powerful. Usually something happens in our life that is outside of our purview. And this is one of those cases where they went to get a room and there was no room at the inn, so they had to ad lib. They had to go to the barn, right? I mean, that's all that they had. And they made it nice and, moved the animals to the side, and hopefully they raked the stable a little bit, right? So the inn represents our intellect because there was no room in the inn. The baby was born in the manger, which symbolizes your heart and your emotions. When you have run yourself dry of everything thinking that it should be a certain way, you ever been overtaxed and then something comes up before you and you just break down and cry? That feeling of overwhelm where you're just to your wits' end and all you can do is let it bubble over. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about when you're in a situation and you've done everything that you think you can do intellectually, and you're hit with one more straw that breaks the camel's back, and you just go, whatever, take me, I'm yours, right? Because we get to that breaking point. We get to that breaking point in our intellect where we just go, God knows, because I give up. I surrender. Surrender isn't weakness. Surrender is strength. When we finally get to the place where we say, you know what, my way has not worked, and I know there's a power that does it, and I have to give myself into that power. We're again involved with our thoughts and feelings with Joseph, Mary, and Herod. So Joseph, the human father of Jesus, represents the intellectual nature of being fathered. Our intellect can serve as an important father role to protect, guide, and support a new spiritual awareness in us by maintaining the right state of mind. Not everybody had a father in their life growing up, but something assumed that father figure role. There's a lot of moms who have become both mother and father because they had to. And I've heard it said that if you didn't have a father in your life, you didn't need one because your mom or another energetic came in to fill that spot. But we all had a interpretation of that energy. And when we didn't, we filled it in ourselves in some way. Sometimes we had to become our own protector of ourselves, right? I mean, we've all been in situations where our mom and dad were not there or our guardian to save us from ourselves. And we had to use right thinking to get us out of a pinch. Be it in a situation with other people. Maybe it was decision which bill to pay. Do I pay for food or do I pay for my medication? I need both. but you had to make some decisions. And were they perfect? Well, yes, they got you here. You're here today. But we always look back and go, I might have done something a little different. But that Father energy, the Joseph energy, is what the energy of what created us can step in and be that protector and give us the insight that we need to get us out of challenging situations. And we all have drawn on that energy, if you know it or not. We've all said, help me now. I need to know now. And something happened. Something transported us into a knowledge, and a connection was made, a miracle happened, somebody else came in when it was needed, some other resources flooded in, and you were saved from yourself in a situation by that power that created you. And we go, it was a miracle, right? A miracle just happened. And what is a miracle? It's just a science we don't understand yet. There is a way miracles work. And maybe it's not for us to figure it out. Are you okay to be okay in the mystery of just knowing that you were taken care of? Somehow you have been taken care of by that power. I've learned over the years, because I want to figure it out, to be okay with the mystery of it all. And that's the fun. It's going to be really neat how God works this out, because I don't have a clue. It's surrender. It's taking your hands off of it and going, you know what? I'm going to pray about this. It used to be the last thing I did was pray. It's like, I guess I better pray. I've tried every other avenue. Now as a minister, I pray first and watch those avenues flood in. All of a sudden I have choices. The infinite brings me different avenues of solution that I had never even thought of. Pray first. So Mary symbolizes the inspired activity of our emotional state as the highest emotional experience we can have. Pure intuition. This is how the Christ Spirit comes to us through intuitive insight. It was through the virgin awareness that Jesus was born. Once we let our guard down, we were open to a new idea that could come through, rush in, and give us the power that we need. That's where the power is. It's when we let go. But we're not spontaneously eager to let go. I know I'm not. I'm going to hold on, and I'm going to make this work. If you have something in your life that isn't working and you're trying to force it, you're trying to make it happen, maybe it's not supposed to. I wrestled with the situation, and I had my fingernails and my teeth marks in it, because I'm gonna make this work. And the other side of it showed all of my teeth and nails. It doesn't mean you don't work for something. It means you resist not error. Resist not error. If you've made a mistake, don't beat yourself up, but know that that's a sign to go in a different direction. Change course. If you find resistance here, that's a sign that there's an easier way. Don't wrestle until the angel says, I give. Give in yourself before it becomes a resistance, and let it go. Listen to the virgin ideas, those little ideas that you think, there's no way that could happen. There is a way, and all we have to do is be open to it. Then we get to Herod as the autocratic and egotistic false self. It is also a part of our intellect, always threatened by something new. He tries to kill the idea. Well, we've always done it this way. Well, I can't deviate from the way I've always done things. Well, the way that you've always done things has gotten you into the situation you're in right now. So you have to use a different energetic to get you through it. You have to branch out and look beyond the limiting ideas for solutions. We have to be open to something new. And Herod represents that quality. You know that quality of, you mean I have to do something different? I don't want to. But we have to. We have to let the Herod sink back and just say, you're there to protect me, but right now I need you to just listen. I'm going to try something new. The shepherds and the sheep also introduce us to the inner scene of our own intellectual and emotional process. The shepherd is the humble, often simple type of thought process, like Joseph, that watches and tends to the flock of our inner feelings with loving care. So we've been given a GPS. Your inner feelings, your gut. You know, when something comes up and you go, or something comes up and you go, absolutely yes. Yes, you know it in your gut that it's right. It's those little feelings we have, you know, all of us have said, I wish I would have gone with my first sense of this. I wish I would have gone with my gut feeling. Well, when we start to listen to that more and heed it, you know, hindsight's always 20/20. You can always look back and go, well, I should have done, could have done, would have done. Don't should all over yourself. Take the energetic that it's teaching you and use it for the next go-round. To go, you know what, when I have that feeling come up, I'm going to go with that. I'm going to let my guard down enough for a new, beautiful idea to flow in. And it will. But it won't come in uninvited. The energy of the universe will not come in. If it could, this whole world would be a different place, right? There would be no problems because it would just flood in, know the highest and best, and make it happen. But we, as this human idea, have not got to the point where we can invite it in. And all we have to say is, this too is good. This too is God, and I demand to see the blessing in this. Come on in. But if we don't invite it in, it's not going to self-impose itself. It's not going to do that. We have to say, God, I'm to that point. Oh God, please. And what I like to say is, I know that there's a way, and I invite that way. Divine right action, DRA. I know that the divine has a much bigger idea about how to solve this challenge than I do. Because I would have solved it if I could have already. And the energy that created each one of us has the solution. The energy that brought you to it will bring you through it. The angels represent messages from God as divine inspiration and guidance, which brings tidings of great joy. Isn't it great when the angel flits into your life and goes, here's your miracle. Ta-ta-ding. You can even hear it. Ta-ding. And you're like, whoa, how did that happen? I was just sitting here completely flustered, not knowing what to do, and I gave it up, and an angel flew into my life and solved this for me. You know, it's like, it's an overnight success. It took me 25 years to figure out. It took me 25 years to let my guard down so I could let the power of the infinite come before me. And you know what? It takes as long as it takes. The three wise men who followed the star in the east were really magi. Magi. magic consciousness. Magic is just something we don't understand how it works, and we call it magic. But there is a magic to life, and we're not supposed to figure it out. But we have to believe that it's there and that it works. You know, and hey, I've been a naysayer too, when it's like, well, I don't believe in magic. You just stopped all the magic being able to happen in your life. That's like saying, well, men shouldn't be in that role, or women can't do it. If you say women can't do something, you just cut out 50%, 55% of your intellect, your intuitive sense. You need to include all people in everything, because we're all one. There's no separation. So the Magi, who represent the kind of higher wisdom and spiritual insight that can come right into our ordinary thoughts and feelings when we are open to the guidance of the great star. But we have to be open to it. Or the greater light of higher ideas. And Charles Fillmore said in his Bible interpretation, the star represents the possibilities of our own Christhood. When we have the open and receptive consciousness symbolized by the Magi in our higher Christ-like aspirations, they always lead to an awareness of our divine potential. That's the key. Our divine potential. That's the GPS. That's the answers we need when we need them. When we're looking for something and we have squandered all of our possibilities, something can rush in that moment. So the three gifts are gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Gold represents the material possessions of our lives, which, when dedicated to our higher aspirations, not to just having material items, when they allow us freedom to express, they take on the reason that they were put in our lives. They become a force for good and a powerful magnet for everything we truly need in our life. Frankincense is an incense, a beautiful symbol of an atmosphere of prayer, which extends upward into the higher consciousness of our spiritual aspirations. You ever smelled something like sage and you have that sensation or incense where you just had tingles? Like it shifted your consciousness, like all of a sudden something was different in that area. Something felt a little more connected. I'm not sure how it does the mind-body connection between our senses, but there's a connection there. When we can connect our feeling nature with what we choose to be, do, and have, a demonstration happens. That's how metaphysics work, is that here's the equation. An idea with a thought and a feeling connected to prayer equals our demonstration. So a good practitioner doesn't pray to their demonstration, they pray from the consciousness of already having it, already being the health, already being the gift, because you are the gift. And finally, myrrh is an embalming ointment and is connected with Jesus' directive, follow me and let the dead bury the dead. Follow your highest consciousness. Follow the new way, or that there is a new way, because the old way got you here, and it served its purpose. But the old wine sacks will not hold the new wine that's being created. We have to look to the new, always. It's always being hung before us. So these are the gifts that we give Christ for Christmas: a dedication of everything in our lives to God, a deeper commitment to prayer, and a trusting surrender of the lesser in our lives for the greater, a higher consciousness. You know, it's been said that the things in your life that you want can't come in because the things that you don't want are filling their place right now. You're hanging on to an old idea possibly, or possibly old things, and the new can't come in because there's a gridlock. We must let go of the old ideas that no longer serve and know that there's a new way. That's when that flood of newness can rush in. And is it easy or fun? Not always. It's not always, people resist change. We're interesting creatures. I want change. I want things to be different, but don't change anything on me. Don't mess with my program. Don't change the way that, but I want everything new. I don't like the way things are, but don't change anything on me or I'll flip out. People talk about freaking out. I don't freak out. I freak in. I go crazy in here. I've figured out every different way things can go. I freak in. And then I freak out. That was just a little side note. So, along with the more traditional ways you celebrate Christmas this year, set aside some quality time for prayer and contemplation devoted to your inner metaphysical drama of your own Christmas story, and let it quicken within you as the awareness of your true nature comes forward. It will add a new and profound spiritual dimension to your Christmas experience this year. You are the divine gift. Truly, you are the unique and special, one-of-a-kind, creative energy that only you can be. You hold a very special place in the creation of all of God's gifts. You are an event that God is having. You are a dream that God is experiencing as only you can. So make it good. Make it fun. So, in conclusion, I want to talk a little bit about my own personal Christmas experience. And are there any kids in the room? Okay, I think we're all kids here together, right? Well, I want to talk a little bit about Santa Claus. Because big believer here, I used to clean my room because my dad one year, Santa came in and did some things in my room, and I was appalled that he had to see the mess in my room. And I'm the youngest of 4 kids, and I talked to my brother a lot about this. And one Christmas Eve, I woke up in the middle of the night because I heard some commotion outside, and I looked out from my bedroom window. That I was on a 2-story. I looked out and I could see that our station wagon was backed up to the front door, and my parents were unloading package after package, and I was confused. I didn't think Santa looked like that. And, I asked my brother, and he said, well, the parents are helping Santa out. He's really busy, and he put it in the car, but it was up to them to get it under the tree. And I said, John, I don't know if there is a Santa. And he said, I don't know if there is either. He goes, you get to a point where you start to understand that there's something called the Christmas spirit. And the Christmas spirit is the Santa. And it makes the season magical. And it makes things come alive, and people do things they normally wouldn't do. And You can believe in Santa if you want to, but the Christmas spirit is what's real, is that there is an energy and there is a power that does things when we're not looking. And it will always prove to do something, especially during these holy days. So, Merry Christmas. And remember that you are the gift. That when you're opening something, maybe somebody's given you tomorrow, know that you are opening a new plane of existence to be discovered within yourself. That's the metaphysical Christmas story, is that you are the gift. And each one of us, as we watch our loved ones opening their gift, can become part of their gift too. So, namaste, and so it is. Thank you. So it's time for our prayer. I want to say a special prayer for our Christmas energy today. So, can you dim the lights just a little for us, and let's just bring ourselves to center. So I just remind myself, and I invite you to remind yourself of what you believe the power of creation is to you. Knowing that the energy that beats each one of our hearts, that breathes our body, that causes the rain and the snow to fall from the sky, that turns this earth, allows us to have day and night, seasons, and the beauty of nature, that there is something doing that. And that I know that each one of us is a part of that creation. There is no separation. There is only one of us here, truly. God expressing as the billions of forms of life in multi-dimensional places. I just say a blessing today upon each individual experience, knowing that as we turn our awareness to what we believe, that it activates that belief in a way that brings the things that we choose to be, do, and have into our life in a miraculous, majestic way. That at the times that we may not be able to know what the answer is, we call on that power to know for us what it is. And it never leaves us alone. We'll fill that void if we ask it, and we ask it now to bring us health, to bring us love, to bring us creative self-expression, prosperity, and divine abundance, as will fit into our lives in ways that make sense, that allow us to prosper